This segment presented by Mile High Shooting Accessories. All right, YouTube fans, thank you for coming back to the Vickers Tactical Channel. I'm Larry Vickers, your host. I've got Walt Wilkinson here. We're out at Gunsight, and I've got Frank Galli. We're gonna go through some tactical shooting tips, specifically relating to long-range shooting tips. Now, Walt, you've taught a lot of people over the years, and you've taught a lot of long range out here at Gunsight. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you start trying to relay principles of long-distance shooting, or shooting in general to somebody?
All right, the first thing is, people think that there is that one magical thing that they're going to figure out, that super secret thing that's going to make them a better long-range shooter. And the bottom line is this: a master shooter who's someone who has mastered the fundamentals. That's the main thing right there. Body position, natural point of aim, trigger control, breathing. If they put all of that together and they master each aspect of that, they will become a superlative long-range shooter.
Now, Frank, I know you've done a number of videos on your own and stuff on Sniper's Hide. How do you address that exact same situation?
It's all about the fundamentals, exactly what Walt says, as well as making sure you set up that rifle to the shooter, and that they don't try to wrap themselves and gooseneck it, either forward or back. But the fundamentals of marksmanship is all it takes to hit that target.
When you run into people who think they can buy themselves into the fundamentals, or they think like a certain gadget, or they can kind of bypass a step in the process, how do you address that?
Well, there's a place to put your money, all right? And normally, very few shooters can outshoot their rifle, but a lot of shooters can outshoot their glass, all right? Every single nickel that you put into your optics, your glass, you get back a dime for. That is where you put your money at. But for the most part, money cannot buy you better downrange performance.
What about people who think that, hey, if I buy this certain caliber, I can kind of bypass certain fundamentals?
You can compensate for your mistakes by getting a super caliber, as I like to call them. But down the road, when you come into conditions that super caliber can't compensate for, now you haven't trained yourself with the fundamentals at the lowest level, and it comes back to haunt you.
Yeah, it's like building a house on top of a faulty foundation.
Exactly.
No matter how much money you spend on the granite cabinet or granite countertops or whatever the case may be, it's still on a faulty foundation. You're going to run into a situation where that's going to come back to haunt you.
Very true.
Wind cheaters are a double-edged sword, because if you're so used to always holding on that target and then the wind's up and you hold off, you can go off just as much because it's such a narrow window that they have. So it could be a double-edged sword that way for people.
Exactly.
We've all been instructors, taught a lot of people in different disciplines and whatnot. You run into people that, for whatever reason, they'll spend the money on the gear and the equipment and the rifle and whatnot, but they won't spend the money on the training.
Oh, I believe firmly, and all our students see this, your shooting career begins the day you graduate from a shooting school. When you get that certificate, then you start getting better. Now, I'm sure Frank will agree with this.
You can't see your own mistakes. You'll keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. You can't see if your shoulder's pushing forward. You can't see if you're coming off the trigger. It takes a coach to be able to say, this is what you're doing wrong, because we don't have eyes in the back of our head. We're not looking, from the sky above. So you have to go to a school.
It's astounding to me when I hear that, because I'll read it online in different forums and whatnot. And people, you'll run into them, they just have an aversion on spending money. They can understand about spending money on equipment or ammo or optics or gear, but just spending money on the instruction. Think about where we would be if we had not had instruction along the way.
First day.
Yes, that's it. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That'd been
absolutely.
ugly.
I mean, it's just, I can't count the number of classes I've been in over the years. It's at a certain point you got to say, hey, get yourself into the game with a gun or a piece of equipment, but then the next money you spend, you need to be spending on proper training.
Absolutely.
When we get a basic guy here who wants to really, what should I do, what should I do, what should I do? Going, you know what you really should do? You should come here, get instruction, rent one of our guns, and then see what you actually have to do, all right, to go where you want to go. And then you haven't wasted any money at all.
Absolutely. I mean, I've taken your basic class 3 times. Your basic class. You don't need to go to the advanced class. I haven't mastered that yet. So exactly that. Go take the basic course. Go take multiple basic courses because you'll get something out of it. You don't need the zippiest, bangiest caliber. A 308 is going to teach you everything you need to know, and go pick up the tools from as many toolboxes as possible.
Okay, before we wrap this up, if you've got somebody that wants to come to Gunsight and learn how to shoot a rifle, where do they start? What's the beginning class?
The beginning class is the 270, our general rifle class. All right, come to that one, get firmed up on how to run a bolt action rifle, all the positions that you get into. All right, once you've got that foundation built, then come to long range rifle, which we're going to take you from where the general rifle left off, which is about 400 yards. Start there and take you all the way out to 800 and beyond, teaching you the fundamentals of what it takes to get a first or second round hit at all the way out to half a mile.
Okay, cool. Now, Frank, I'm going to throw it in your court and kind of go online. All right, there's a lot of information on Sniper's Hide. There's a lot of information on different forums on the internet. Some of it's solid, a lot of it's not. Where do they go to Sniper's Hide to find out the direction they need to go in?
Absolutely. We say 10% is valid. And there's a lot of information on Sniper's Hide. It's finding that good 10%. There's the marksmanship training area that we have. You can go there. Stay out of the advanced marksmanship. Stick to the fundamentals. As Walt brought up, you know, the basic class is 400 yards. That way you can manage the conditions and you can learn something and you're not fighting the wind and things that are out there. Everybody wants to go to 1,000 yards. You don't have to jump right to 1,000 yards to become a good marksman. Start short and then work your way out. As the more experience you have grows, the further out you can go.
Good deal.
Stick to that.
Hey, I want to thank both of you guys for joining me out here. I hope you enjoyed it. We got more tips coming your way.